Hey guys, so after days of procrastination, which is poor on my part, finally getting to it. Autism Q&A. Apologies in advance for end up rambling on rather, get people's names wrong or not able to provide great answers. But I'm going to try my best to try and see if I can decently answer people's questions. So I divided them from Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So I got quite a few questions, so let's get into them. The first one from a member of my family, actually, Isabel Riley, we're starting with Facebook, by the way. What was the most difficult thing to learn how to do differently? Probably facing society in general. I think society is very judgmental in a lot of respects, whether it be from what clothes you wear to how you behave, or whatever it may be. But I think facing society was definitely one of the most difficult things I had to do, which I had the help of you and the rest of the family, which is great. And I had help from support workers or friends, so I'm quite appreciative of that. So thanks very much. Love yous all to bits. Ryan J. Thurtle, when you found out you had Asperger's, how did you feel and react? I was about 3 or 4, I think, when I got diagnosed, so I couldn't really answer that. But it's a great question in general, though. It'll be interesting to see for people who have been diagnosed at a later age, if they can remember it, how they felt and reacted to it. CJ Collins, how long did it take to go through the assess and diagnose process? Again, I was probably too young to remember it, unfortunately, my friend. Those last two questions, unfortunately, I can't really answer the best of my abilities. I wish I could, but I was too young to remember it, unfortunately. Lee Farrell, good mate of mine, as well as the other two who've asked questions before. With having it, do you get highs and lows? And I think it's a positive message to show one's honest self. Yeah, I agree with that. Highs and lows, yes, I do, but I associate that with just being like a person rather than just a person who happens to have autism. But it's a good question, though. To answer your question, though, yes, I do get highs and lows quite quickly. Sunderland Fan 11, is it hard for you to make eye contact? It used to be. About 10 years ago, I was not great because of my autism, let's just say that. Not fantastic now by any means, but yeah, I would say it was pretty hard to make eye contact, but I've got more used to that and it's easier for us over time. I don't have a problem with it too much anymore. I'd like to think I don't anyway. SCFC Boot Boys, what do you think the main misconceptions of autism is? Great question. Main misconceptions, I would say, is the fact that everybody's... it's not as bad now, but there used to be a point where a lot of people were viewed the same because of the autism. And, yeah, I mean, people... We've got to remember, everybody's just different. Everyone's different. It's all individualistic, if that's even a word. No two people are the same. There might be similarities, but they're never exactly the same. And people who... have got more severe cases of autism are just people who need extra guidance, in my opinion. They're people who just need just a bit of extra guidance in life. I've rambled on quite a bit, but there you go. Great question. All of them have been great, but that one especially I really liked. Rossi 1690, has autism ever held you back? Has it held me back? Well, put it this way. I've managed to get a job. I've managed to leave university a few years ago with a 2-1 degree in sports journalism. Now, the reason I haven't done anything with it is because I didn't want to be a journalist by the end of it. But I don't regret doing the degree. I'm really proud I did that. And also, of course, on here, I've somehow got over 2,000 subscribers, which is insane. So I would argue, no, it probably hasn't held me back in certain aspects of my life. So yeah, great, very, very deep question, though. And I suppose the moral of that is, if I can do these things, people can succeed at whatever they want to if they wanted it. So hopefully that was inspiring enough. Jack Dodds. Now, when I said ask a question or two, he's asked about 3 here, I think. The first one is, how old were you when you diagnosed? Again, about 3 or 4. What's the main thing you struggle with in relation to it? Probably knowing what to do in unfamiliar situations, but I don't know if that's an autistic thing. I think that might be quite common among people. What have you done since being diagnosed to help you? Again, like I said earlier from Isabel's question, it's about having a good support line, having a good support bubble, I guess, supportive people around you, and I'm very appreciative for that. Great set of questions again, though. Finley C, I think this is the last Instagram question, then we'll go to Twitter and YouTube. My friend who has Asperger's, when younger, he'd be fascinated by different topics and become very knowledgeable in them for a time being, only to drop them later. Do you experience this, and is it a common autistic trait? Whether it's a common autistic trait, I couldn't honestly answer. You'd have to ask many other people who have autism. I would imagine it could be, but I don't know if that's again a person trait. I don't know whether that's just a trait among people rather than autism specific, if that makes any sense. From my own experience, yes, I do. One week I could be fascinated with something to do with Star Wars. I could be fascinated to do something with Harry Potter, football, or Marvel, superheroes, whatever it might be. The typical nerd things, basically. Um, I would do experience it though. I go through phases when I'm interested in certain things, and then I wouldn't say I don't say I become less knowledgeable, but I become a bit less interested temporarily, and then I sort of come back to it later. So from my own experience, yes, I would say I do relate to it. Right, there's two questions I'm going to ask here that are a bit similar. Well, I think they're similar anyway. And this is from Twitter now. At nronnienick and Cape United. By the way, Cape United is a great Peterborough YouTuber. I've been on his channel before. Cape put up a great story on Twitter about how he had to, I think it took a bit of adjusting. Now, I could be wrong, Cape. Tell me in the comments below if I've got anything wrong here. But how he had to adjust adjust to the fact that someone else had autism and had to adjust to what their specific needs are, but still loves them nonetheless. And that was a great message. I got choked up a bit reading that, actually. The questions are, how did you get it? And is this something you were born with, or does it develop over time? As for how did you get it, I couldn't answer that honestly enough. Because I can't remember how I got it. Simple as that. And the other one, is it something you're born with or does it develop over time? I would argue I think it can develop over time. It depends. Again, everybody's different. Some people could be born with it. Some people could have just developed. In my case, I do believe probably did develop over time. But certainly developed when I was quite young. I don't know about autism the moment I was born. Put it that way. But I think it could work either way. I suppose you'd have to ask. Everyone's circumstances might be different. Jake Gilmore, how severe is your autism, and what can it possibly prevent you doing? For what it can prevent me from doing, like I said before, I think knowing what to do in unfamiliar situations. But again, I don't know if that's an autistic trait or if that's just a trait among people. And how severe is it? Well, I'd consider myself fairly high functioning. I'm certainly able to talk to people and do the things that are considered normal, and I hate using that word, but there you go. I'd consider myself a not so severe case of autism. Even people who are more severe, I think just simply need extra guidance, like I said earlier. But good questions all round though. At Matt SFC9, how hard did you find living through childhood and into adulthood with it? Childhood, for a number of reasons, not just because of autism. I didn't enjoy school that much. I found it quite difficult. Obviously, you know what happened with my mother. She passed away when I was 15 years old, which really didn't help, but obviously this isn't about that. It's about autism. Into adulthood, it's got easier, but, obviously there are days where everyone will struggle with it. Everyone will struggle with it, or will... I think it's probably just a case of having good days and bad days like everyone else does. At Pete M1809, how does an adult get assessed or checked? I'm going to put a couple of links down in the description below and link you to different websites, my friend. I can't answer it directly, but I didn't want to just stumble and not being able to give you an adequate answer. So I'm going to try and give you a couple of websites, either in the description or the comments, and you can go from there and then see what you make of them, really. Reese Lincoln, how do you find differences from having autism to someone who doesn't have it? Probably for the common traits of not liking changes in routine, struggling to make eye contact. I know I'm being very stereotypical here, but it depends. Some people you just... Like, put it this way, I've had a lot of people from on here who've said they didn't know I had autism until I mentioned it. So make of that what you will. I think some people you can notice it a bit more, but it depends on how everyone's case is of autism. Some people are just more obvious than others, but still. Daniel Watt, do you find being at matches exhausting with overstimulation, or have you developed effective coping strategies? I'm quite comfortable at matches. I miss going to the stadium, actually, but do I find exhausting? Well, yeah, but that's because I watched Sunderland, not because of their autism. But I do get what you mean. Sunderland actually did a great thing years ago where they had a specific soundproof room or whatever it was. That's another common trait, a stereotypical trait, hypersensitive to sound. They had a room specifically for someone with autism about how it censors different sounds. I think if that makes any sense. Defective coping strategies. Well, obviously, just sort of embracing it. The fact that I'm with mates and people I really like does help quite a lot. Right, now we'll go to YouTube. Jacob Aviard, how did autism affect your school years? Like I said before, school I didn't find enjoyable at all, but it's got easier as it's gone on. Jack Dixon, what effects has it had on you and what do you struggle with? I think, again, being unfamiliar in struggling in unfamiliar situations, rather. It doesn't have that much effect on me anymore. I don't think much about autism, but there you go. Still, good question. Richard Hobson. A mate of mine who has Asperger's often finds it hard to gauge social situations and read other people. Have you found this at all? I used to be like that, but I'd like to think I probably do it a bit too much now. But yeah, it does tend to. It can happen. I used to find it like that, but I'm not as bad with it now. Thomas Garrigan and Joe the Artist. This is the last sort of topic. Joe the Artist says he's a performing musician. He gets comfortable on stage, but and is very sociable for a while, but then afterwards want to be alone. Do you relate to this? And him and Thomas Garrigan have basically said the same thing. How does it affect you making videos as you seem confident? I found in social situations it depends on who I'm with. Socially, for a while, I'm happy to be with people, but then after a while, I like being on my own. I just enjoy my own company in general. And as for videos on YouTube, thank you. I've just got used to it. I've just got used to doing it, and I'm quite comfortable on here now. But anyway, guys, thanks very much for the questions. Sorry I didn't answer them adequately. Hopefully I did. I'll love yous and leave yous there, and I'll get this up. I'll get this up as quickly as possible. And see you soon. And take care and stay safe. And hope you enjoyed the Q&A. Love yous all.